Piercings that I find intimidating.
These are the top 4 piercings that I find to be most intimidating for both the piercer and the client. These piercings also just so happen to give off intimidating vibes, so you can also intimidate other people with these piercings. First on the list is going to be the nasal line piercing. This piercing passes through each nostril and the septum in a straight line with a straight barbell. Getting these lined up to be as straight as possible can be the biggest challenge for the piercer. Think of this as getting 3 separate nostril piercings all in one fell swoop. So with that in mind, these are going to be a little bit uncomfortable for some people. Additionally, the piercer may not be able to get these perfectly lined up with the sweet spot in your septum like they would for a regular septum piercing, so it'll be going through some fairly thick cartilage most likely. However, this is one of the coolest and just most unique looking piercings that I have wanted for a long time now. It's just a matter of finding a piercer that will do it for me because I do have a very deviated septum and I went through a lot of trouble with even just a regular septum piercing, so I'm a little wary. Cheek piercings are piercings through the cheek, which are usually placed to mimic the appearance of dimples. Of course, these piercings look adorable on so many faces, but there are so many contraindications to these. Just to evaluate your anatomy, the piercer is going to check the muscle structures around your mouth and cheek area to find a hollow pierceable spot. Additionally, your piercer also needs to evaluate your bite and where that sits in relation to this spot. On top of that, oral hygiene is a big factor that is also taken into consideration with these. So unfortunately, not everybody is conducive to these piercings. These piercings are also notoriously a pain to heal. They are in a very high movement area, and you may need multiple downsizes and potentially re-up sizes throughout this healing process. Dahlia bites are piercings of the outer corners of the mouth, and these are going to share a lot of the same contraindications as cheek piercings. Your oral hygiene, your cheek and mouth anatomy, and where your bite sits are all going to factor into whether you can get this piercing. Also similar, these piercings are still in a very high movement area, and multiple downsizes and re-up sizes may be needed throughout your healing. And finally, venom bites. These have become popularly known as the much safer alternative to snake eyes or frog eyes piercings, and they consist of 2 separate tongue piercings that go down each respective muscle of the tongue vertically. And although these piercings are much safer than snake eyes or frog eyes piercings, they still come with a lot of their own contraindications. Oral hygiene is taken into account because these do pose possible risk of tooth damage or gum recession. The webbing underneath the tongue and how far the tongue can extend are also taken into account, as well as the veins underneath the tongue. On top of the fact that this is 2 separate tongue piercings you are trying to heal instead of 1, it is also generally more painful and annoying to heal piercings that go through a muscle than one that would just go straight down the midline. However, these are definitely worth it for those that are conducive to it and that really want these piercings.